Did you know there's an invisible line in Mexico dividing who can make which Mexican dishes based on gender? Or that there's a wrong side of how to hold a tortilla? There's a secret code to Mexican cuisine that outsiders won't tell as easy. Until now, I'm about to tell you some unwritten rules and fascinating quirks about Mexican food that only locals know. These aren't random facts. They are your survival guide to truly understand Mexican culture related to food. Are you ready? Make sure to subscribe this channel and like this video so you'll be informed about real Mexican culture facts that nobody tells you about. A tortilla has a right side and no Mexican uses the wrong one. A tortilla might seem simple, but it's the foundation of almost every Mexican dish. Enchiladas, tacos, chilaquiles, sopes, quesadillas, you name it. As that famous Mexican comedian once joked, we use tortilla for almost everything, just in different shapes.
Oye, explícame, ¿qué son los chilaquiles? Ah, los chilaquiles, pues mira, es tortilla con queso, con crema, salsa, le puedes poner frijoles, pollo. Ah, ok. ¿Y las flautas? Ah, pues mira, es tortilla.
Sometimes we cut the tortilla to make chilaquiles, sometimes we make it thicker to make a sope, and I don't know why, somehow they all taste different.
Stop it. Get some help.
The tortilla is so versatile that we adapt it in almost every food. But coming back to the tortilla has a correct side to handle it, to carrying it. As you can see, the thicker, more consistent side is the side that should face down on your hand. The other side is the side that will contain your fillings. In this way, the tortilla won't break because the more consistent side will be responsible of carrying your fillings. The other side usually is thinner, and in this side you will put your fillings. A ver, abue, aquí hay una tortilla.
Sí.
¿Cómo la agarrarías tú para comerla correctamente?
Mira, este lado está más planito que aquí. Aquí está más abultado. Aquí está más plano. Entonces es más fácil de que la dobles por mitad en 4.
This is the absolute first principle a kid learns. Now you can handle a tortilla like a pro. This isn't something that I'm making up. No Mexican will handle a tortilla, will carry a tortilla on the other side. That will be weird. There's an invisible custom happening every day and night, and we've just all silently accepted it. Have you ever noticed that tacos al pastor are always or almost always made by men? You know, that hypnotic spinning cone of marinated meat that you'll find in a street stall at night in Mexico? Similar to a shawarma. Actually, tacos al pastor came from the shawarma because Lebanese immigrants brought it. And this isn't about being sexist at all. There might be some women making tacos al pastor, but let's face it, there's more men doing it. ¿Quién hace tacos al pastor? ¿Hombres o mujeres o los dos?
Hombres. Ambos.
Ambos. ¿Has visto una mujer haciendo tacos al pastor?
Muy poquitos, pero estoy seguro que sí hay.
¿Por qué creen que la mayoría de hombres hace tacos al pastor?
No sé, las mujeres nos animan natural.
¿Cómo?
No sé, lo natural, ¿verdad?
Sí. And I believe this is because of the process. Making tacos al pastor is an art form. Since marinating the meat, cutting the meat, put it into the cone, and finally cut the meat to put it in your taco. And on the other side, you'll find that it's almost always women making antojitos. Let me tell you about the word antojitos, which is a Mexican snack that has tortilla. How can you realize if it's an antojito or not? Well, on the menu, you'll find that it says antojitos. One example can be a gordita, which is a thick tortilla cut in half and you put the filling inside. Or maybe it can be a sope, which is also more or less a thick tortilla. On the top, you put beans, cheese, cream, lettuce. Now, it's always women making antojitos. Well, mostly women making antojitos. ¿Quién hace antojitos, hombres o mujeres?
Yo creo que ahí más las mujeres. Ganan más.
Las mujeres, como haciendo unos sopecitos o unas gorditas.
Las gorditas, todo eso, las mujeres. Muy raro los hombres.
Sí, eso sí. Lo que es más trabajo de mi...
Ajá, creo que traen más el toque, ¿no? En las cosas.
This is not about capability or sexism or something like that. It's just how the Mexican culture evolved related to food. Have you realized about this? Let me know in the comments. Let me steal you a few seconds of your time just to tell you that if you want to learn Spanish, I can help you too. I've created an online Spanish academy where with some professional Spanish teachers and we can help you to speak Spanish, the real Spanish that we speak in Mexico. These are conversational classes. We provide the material so you can not only understand the language, but Mexican culture too. Check out tarifinspanish.com. You can find the links on the description if you want more information. Let's go with number 3, the weekend-only foods that cure everything. There's a special category of Mexican food reserved almost only for weekends, especially Sundays. These are the legendary hangover cures after a Saturday night party. And I believe many countries have a special food reserved for your hangover or cruda, as we call it in Mexico. Tengo una cruda que no aguanto. What are these foods in Mexico? Have you ever heard of barbacoa? It's a sheep meat cooked underground overnight. The meat, as a result, is very tender and it's perfect for your cruda. I live in the state of Hidalgo where barbacoa is very famous. The representative state of barbacoa. And if you go on the road on a Sunday morning, you'll see a lot of street stalls selling barbacoa. Another dish is carnitas, which is pork simmered in its own fat for hours in a big pot. You can easily spot a carnitas place because the majority of the people put the big pot on the street. When the carnitas are ready, the taquero chops the carnitas and put it in a taco. Another dish is menudo, which is a beef stomach stew. The history of this dish is very interesting. It was born during the Mexican Revolution. There was food scarcity. It was a cheap dish that it was easy to share between a lot of people. These dishes are so special that some restaurants only open on Sunday. Some others are street food stalls. Many restaurants are alongside the road. Obviously, they bring their tables, their chairs, and it's an easy way for people just to stop if you are driving, eat, and continue your path. These dishes are also served in big Mexican parties, like a quinceañera or a wedding. It's not always, but it's common to see a big plate of meat in the middle of the table of that party because it's easy to make tacos yourself. Tacos of every part of the animal. And I mean every part of the animal. We're famous for our tacos. We have meat tacos, vegan tacos, fish tacos, and they are all tasty. But the true taco adventure begins when you realize that we literally make tacos of every part of the animal. When you go to a taqueria, you'll see a lot of different names, meat names, and all of them are very popular, are part of a taco. You can see the most common ones, tacos de pollo, chicken tacos, tacos de bistec, beef tacos, but some other places can offer tacos de lengua, tongue tacos, tacos de cabeza, head tacos, tacos de sesos, brain tacos, tacos de tripa, intestine tacos, which can be pork or beef. And there's even tacos with boiled testicles. I haven't tried them and I don't want to try them, but they say that its flavor is very bold, exotic, special. Have you tried them? It might sound extreme for an outsider. We literally eat every part of the animal. The secret rules of salsas in Mexico. If you go to a Mexican restaurant or a street stall in Mexico, on the table, you'll always find at least one salsa. handmade. Sometimes they have 2, sometimes 3, and even more. There's always verde, roja, and they have a different level of spiciness. It's true when we say that salsas aren't spicy. And this is all subjective because if you ask a person from India, they will say that salsas here in Mexico aren't spicy at all. Salsas for us is just to feel that the food isn't dry, that they have a flavor, Going to a Mexican restaurant without salsas, it's like going to Mexico without trying tacos. But here's the thing. The salsas that are put in the middle of the table are communal. That means that you have to share that salsa with every member of the table. The correct way to enjoy those salsas is to use a spoon and put it on your taco or on your meal without touching your food. You shouldn't put your food directly to the salsas because these salsas will be probably used for the next person. That's why it's very important that salsas don't touch your food. So if you're Mexican and are watching this video, you'll probably think that this is obvious, but it's something that I think is important to share here. There are certain unspoken rules about what foods never mix in Mexican cuisine. For example, lettuce never belongs in tacos. You won't find people putting lettuce on your taco al pastor or any taco at a taqueria. At least there are tacos dorados, fried tacos. Have you seen them? That's the only exception where you'll put lettuce. You can put cream cheese and lettuce. Lettuce is reserved for sopes. Do you remember that I mentioned sopes earlier in this video? You know, that thick tortilla, and on the top you put beans, cream, cheese, and of course, lettuce. And if you've been in a Mexican seafood restaurant, have you noticed how they have on the table crackers, saladitas crackers? I mean, sometimes they have fried tortillas as well. And speaking about seafood restaurants, there's another curiosity. You'll find that there's salsas on the table, but in these restaurants, salsas are bottled salsas, not handmade salsas. Well, there are its exceptions, of course, but the majority of the places have these bottled salsas. And this is how you realize this is an authentic seafood Mexican restaurant. And let's go to the last one. The time-based meat rules. Unlike many countries with fixed breakfast, lunch, and dinner schedules, Mexican eating follows its own unique timeline. Our main meal of the day, as we call it, la comida, could happen between 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. La cena, or dinner, can happen around 8, 9, or even later. And I know what you're thinking, probably if you aren't from Mexico, or if you are from a country where you have dinner at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. I know that this can be a little bit late. And what about breakfast? I will divide it into 2 categories. Desayuno and almuerzo. A desayuno can happen, early in the morning, since the time you wake up until 10 in the morning. And it can be very simple. That doesn't change. It can be a yogurt, oats, whatever you want to have. It's something light. But there's another word, we call it almuerzo. This is interesting because almuerzo literally means lunch. And yes, an almuerzo, it's a more substantial meal that can happen between 10 in the morning to 12. As an almuerzo, we have some kinds of foods. Eggs, of course, chilaquiles, enchiladas that can also be a breakfast or almuerzo. If you go to a restaurant after 1, you'll find comidas, like a proper meal. Let's hope you found this information very interesting and important for your next trip to Mexico, or if you're living in Mexico. If there's a point that you would want to add, leave it in the comments. My name is Karen. Thank you for watching this video and see you in the next one.